matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Hope everyone finds their seats. And now you can get ready to clap along with us.
Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad.
And now I want to hear your voices echoing mine. How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is.
To be together on this day. How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is to be together on this day.
Hine matov.
Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad.
I need to see more people clapping.
Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Let's do that echoing one more time. Here we go. How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is to be together on this day.
How good it is.
How good it is.
How sweet it is.
How sweet it is to be together on this day.
Hine matov.
Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Good morning. It is so good to be with you. Hine matov, as we just sang, it is really good to be together on this morning to share these prayers and songs and do a little bit of learning together, and maybe most especially to celebrate with Jules and with Sam as they become our congregation's newest adult members and leaders of prayer and study. As y'all are coming in and getting settled and finding your seats, I want to make sure all of you have taken the chance to pick up a prayer book from the back of the seat in front of you so you can follow along with our service. Jules and Sam have worked very hard to get ready to lead you in prayer. One of the best things we can do as a congregation is to be led well by those who are in front of us on the bima. The other thing that I would love for us to do to take just a second is to welcome those who are joining us by live stream this morning. We're delighted that you are with us this morning. If you're watching our stream online, I want to invite you to take just a second to drop in a message of congratulations or Shabbat Shalom, to send your best wishes to our B'nai Mitzvah this morning. If you change your username by clicking the little gear icon on the live stream tab, Sam and Jules and their families will be able to know that you were here, and these messages can remain as a really lovely keepsake for them after this morning's service. And so now that we have gotten ourselves ready, we are going to move into our service together, but we don't want to do this as strangers, so I want to take about 5 or 10 seconds to invite you to wish a Shabbat Shalom to someone seated nearby.
Shabbat Shalom. And so now that we have greeted each other, I want you to turn in your prayer books to page 174. As we pray this prayer, these words, "My God, the soul you have given me is pure. Let us feel our souls restored on this Shabbat. Let us take a moment to take a breath after a busy week, a week of ups and downs and running around. This is your time to just be in this space, to celebrate, to pray, to breathe. And if you've never prayed or sung in Hebrew before, now is your chance. I'm going to teach you this very simple melody so that we can lend our voices as a gift to Sam and Jules this morning. Elohai, Elohai. Let's try that together. Ready?
Elohai, Elohai.
You sound beautiful. Don't be shy. The next part goes like this. Neshama, Neshama. Let's try that.
Neshama, Neshama.
This trickiest part. Shena ta bi, shena ta bi. Let's try that together. Ready? Shena ta bi, shena ta bi. And the last part goes like this. Tehorahi, tehorahi. Let's try that together. Ready? Tehorahi, tehorahi. That's the whole thing. We're going to try it all together with Elohai. Here we go. Elohai, Elohai. Neshama, neshama, neshama. Shena ta bi, shena ta bi. Tehorahi, tehorahi, tehorahi. Let's fill this giant space with just our voices one more time. Here we go. Elohai, Elohai. Neshama, neshama. Shena ta bi, shena ta bi. Tehorahi, tehorahi.
I think we're warmed up.
I
Feeling
think
warm?
we are. I feel warmer. I feel there's warmth in the room.
We're going to get ready to start the prayers of the meat of our service together now on page 195 of our prayer books, page 195. Our bar mitzvah boys who enter into adult leadership this morning will be leading us in prayer, receiving the Torah as it is passed through the generations of their families, and read the parashah of this week in the presence of their congregation. And so it is my pleasure to invite Jules Pulaski, our first adult leader of prayer this morning, to the bima as he makes his way up, and you are all on page 195. Would you please rise for Baruch Hu?
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Yalalai, 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 yalalai. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Le'olam va'ed. Le'olam va'ed. Yalalai, yalalai,
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvareh chosheh, oseh shalom uvareh et hakol. This prayer is about the wonder of creation. I want to share a creative reflection that is not on the page in front of you. Author of life, architect of creation, artist of earth, your works declare your holy name. Mighty rivers, turbulent seas, towering mountains, rolling hills, vast spaces of brilliance and grandeur. You created palette and paint, color and hue, shape and form, abundant and beautiful, glorious and majestic, full of mystery and wonder. Blessed are you, with divine love you created, a world of splendor. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMeorot. We continue responsibly on page 199. Page 199. O God, inspiration and guide for all, you have spoken in 1,000 tongues for us to hear, in every land and every age. Your children have heard you and imagined you in separate ways. And yet, O God, You are one unifier of humanity.
We give thanks for the sages and teachers who bring us understanding of your will. Gratefully we recall the lawgivers and prophets, the psalmists and sages of Israel. And joyfully we remember that from the dawn of Israel's life we would turn to you and find purpose.
May the teachings of our ancestors live on in our minds, and their passion for righteousness stir in our hearts. Help us to live so that our daily conduct reveals the beauty and wisdom of your truth. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher ba'amo Yisrael, ba'ava.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Baruch Shem kevod malchuto le'olam va'ed. Please be seated. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol avavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher nehim etzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibarta ba'am v'shivtecha bevetecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech u'sharpecha uv'kumecha Ukshartam le'ot al yadecha, v'ayu le'totafot le'neinecha. Uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha, u'visharecha. Le'man tizkeru ve'asitem eko mitzvatai, ve'hitem kedoshim le'elohehem. Ani Adonai Elohehem. Asher hotzeiti atem me'eretz Mitzrayim lehiot lahem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohehem. Reread together on the bottom of page 203. Sing the song
Of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, and earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar v'kodesh, mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar v'kodesh. Tehilot, oseh feleh, Norah tehilot, oseh feleh, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Shira chadasha shimechu geulim, le'shimcha asfataya. Yachad kulam hodu, v'himlichu ve'ameru, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar v'kodesh, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar v'kodesh. Norah tehilot, oseh feleh, Norah tehilot, oseh feleh, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
As Jules makes his way back to his seat, we move now in the in our prayer books to page 205, where our Amidah begins, this central section of our worship service. And as we do, it is my pleasure to invite Sam Slobin to the bima to lead his congregation in prayer. As we get ready for this Amidah, we rise to prayer together.
Adonai, Sefer Tetita, Ufiya Gita Hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rahel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanera, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovin, Vekonei Hakol, Zoher Asteavot Mahimahot, Umevi Gulali Nebenehem, Leman Shemo Be'ah, Mele Ozer Umushia Umagim, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atagi Bor Lil Abadonai, Mehaye Hakol Atavrav Lehoshia, Mashif HaRuach, Umarid Hagashem, Mehakel Hayim Behesed, Mehaye Hakol Berahami Rami, Zometh Noklim Verofe Holim, Umatir Rasurim, Emunato Lishene Afa, Michamo Chaba Givirit, Umidomela, Melememi to Mehaye, Umatmia Yeshua.
Our next prayer on page 208 is called the Kedusha. This is a prayer about the holiness of this day. And this prayer offers us an opportunity to feel this holiness with our whole bodies. So many of our prayers are a lot of words, and this gives us this unique opportunity. So when we get to the word for holy, which is kadosh, you will hear it 3 times. Each time we go up on our toes to feel this holiness together. There's a few spots where this happens, so I will show you those so that we can feel the holiness together as a community. Nikadesh, Nikadesh et Shemecha ba'olam, Nikadesh et Shemecha ba'olam, Keshem shemakdishim oto, Bishmei marom, Kakatov aleyad nevi'echa, V'karazeh lezeh ve'amal. Kadosh, 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 Adonai. accepted. We continue at the bottom of page 210. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
The meaning of Shabbat is to celebrate time rather than space. 6 days a week, we live under tyranny of things of space. On Shabbat, we try to become attuned to holiness and time. It is a day on which we are called upon to share in what is eternal in time, to turn from results of creation to the mystery of creation, from the world of creation to the creation of the world. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. We continue responsively by paragraph on page 212. On this Shabbat day, as you graciously receive our prayers, help us to hear your call. Grant us enough health to fulfill our duties, and the compassion we need to attend to others.
Teach us humility, that we may perceive our own faults, and grant us the wisdom to be forgiving of others. Give us the courage to be true to our highest selves, and the charity to see the best in those around us.
Give us patience enough not to become discouraged, hope enough to overcome all fears for the future, and faith enough to know your presence. O source of blessing, look with favor upon us. May your offerings be acceptable to you.
We praise you, Adonai, whom alone we serve in reverence.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otah levacha vayirah na'avod. We continue at the bottom of the next page. Modim enachnu lach, she'atah hu Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohe avotenu v'imotenu le'olam va'ed. This prayer is about gratitude. I want to share a creative reflection that is not on the page in front of you. Thanks for all you made. Thanks for all you gave me. Insight and understanding, a friend or two, for all that I have in the world, a following song, and a forgiving heart. Because of all this, I go on. Thanks for all you made. Thanks for all you gave me. A child's laughter, blue skies, a piece of land and a warm home, a place to sit, loving friends. Because of all this, I go on. Thanks for all you made. Thanks for all you gave me. A day of happiness, honesty and integrity, a sad day that is gone, a victory of 2,000 years in the white wings of peace. Because of all this, I go on. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'ech lehodot. We continue with our prayer for peace, Sim Shalom, on the top of page 216.
So we sing these words, Sim Shalom. I hope you'll sing with me. Sim Shalom, Sim Shalom. Let it begin with me. Let's try it together. Ready? Sim Shalom. Shalom. Sim shalom. Sim shalom. Let it begin with me. Oh, my own life is all I can hope to control. Let my life be lived for the good of my soul. Let it bring peace, sweet peace. Peace will come. Let it begin with me. Let's try that Sim shalom again. Sim shalom. Sim shalom. Let it begin with me. Sim, sim. Shalom. Sim shalom. Let it begin with me. Oh, my own life is all I can hope to control. Let my life be lived for the good of my soul. Let it bring peace, sweet peace. Peace will come. Let it begin with me.
Take a bit of time now for us to offer our own individual prayers. We continue silently. At this point in our service, we continue with the service for the reading of Torah on this Shabbat morning, and so I want to invite Jules and Sam back up to the readers' table. And as they make their way up, I also want to invite these members of their families to join them to assist with the passing of the Torah scroll. To pass the Torah to Jules, I want to invite Alana Pulaski and Alan Pulaski, Joseph Pulaski and Linda Pulaski and Ellen Kalish. To pass the Torah to Sam, Stephanie Slobin and Todd Slobin, Susan Perrin and Stephen Perrin, Marlene Slobin and Lester Slobin. As they make their way to their spots up here on the bima, the rest of us will make our way to page 244 in our books, where we will find the beginning of this service for the reading of Torah on Shabbat, page 244.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, v'ein k'ma'asecha, malichutecha malchut kol olamim, u'memsholtecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai melech le'olam aved. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Sam will now share a reading in their books on page 32 of their books.
Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your city, to hear, to learn, to revere Adonai your God, to observe faithfully the words of this Torah, and let their children who do not yet know it hear, that they, too, may learn to revere Adonai your God.
Happy is the one who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding. For its value is greater than silver, its yield than fine gold. It is more precious than rubies, no treasure can match it.
Jules and Sam will now rejoin their families and put their masks back on, and as they do, I want to invite up these members of the Pulaski family to assist with the opening of the doors of the Ark. Eliana Estes, Canaan Estes, Broston Estes, and Sybil Pulaski, as they make their way up and we prepare to open the doors of the Ark, the congregation will rise.
Return to your seats.
Thank you. Jules and Sam, what a joy this is to be with you this morning as you take your places in a very, very long line of tradition and as you assume the responsibility and the opportunity to be this congregation's and this Jewish people's newest adult leaders of prayer and of conscience, of teaching and of goodness, to carry on the wisdom and the lessons that have been passed through the generations of this family to you.
And so you will hear the words Lador Vador from generation to generation. You are the next link in a chain that goes all the way back through the generations of your family, all the way to Abraham and Sarah. And we are so honored and overjoyed to learn from you both this morning. Lador Vador, Lador Vador, Lador Vador, Nagid God Lecha, Olenetzach Netzachim, Olenetzach Netzachim, Kedushatcha Nagdish.
In this scroll is the secret of our people's lives from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it.
It's never going to undress the scroll. Grandparents can be seated. Thank you. All right. Take the yak first, actually. You're staying. You're about to do your speech. Sam's reading first, so
You ready? In the midst of a storm, Kleenex.
Sorry.
In the midst of a storm, Samuel Wade was born. It was quite an adventure. You were born about 1 hour before the center of Hurricane Ike hit Houston. The hospital was in lockdown, so we had no visitors, and your dad, being the funny guy that he is, asked the nurses to vote on some options for your name. Instead of Storm or Hurricane, as he suggested, the very wise nurses, to which I am forever grateful, chose Samuel Wade. Wade for Wade Through Water to honor the unique circumstances of your birth. Fast forward 13 years, and here you are in this moment, in this very special place, with people who mean so much to us in person and virtually. You are the fourth generation of our family to stand on this bima for a simcha. We are delighted to share this day with the Pulaskis, who treat you like another son, for which we are so grateful.
This past week or so, we had the pleasure of going through thousands of pictures of you growing up. We are so glad we took this trip down memory lane because it reminded us of how amazingly silly you are. It really did not matter the age. You've always been outrageous and unique from the get-go. You are also so creative and clever and so funny, but in a very natural way. We hope you never lose that.
You are also very smart. From a young age, we struggled to find puzzles that were age appropriate, but could also challenge your mind. Puzzles of fire trucks and puppies did not cut it. Our goal then and now are the same. We want to challenge you. The past few weeks have been a challenge. Learning your prayers and speech, reading Torah, keeping up with school and baseball, and getting your tzedakah project done. You have pushed yourself harder than ever before, and your hard work has paid off.
Sam, you literally and figuratively grew into a man over the past few weeks leading up to your bar mitzvah. We can honestly say that we have seen tremendous growth in you. We want you to be the best man that you can be. We want you to always challenge yourself and always push yourself beyond where you think you can go, and then some.
Daddy, Ava, and I are so blessed to have you in our lives. You are a joy in the life of the party. You make us laugh when we need it, and even when we don't. You have such a zest for life, are always with your friends, and love your family. We pray that just like today, you surround yourself with people who love you and bring you joy, you continue to celebrate life in your unique way, and you appreciate your blessings. We are so proud of you. We love you.
This morning, our bar mitzvahs will be reading from the section of the Torah called Vayera. This is the beginning. Sam will be reading from the beginning of the 18th chapter of Genesis. If you've got a red Torah commentary in back of the seat in front of you and you'd like to follow along, you can turn in that book to page 122. Again, Sam is reading starting at the beginning of chapter 18 of Genesis. And to receive the honor of the first aliyah, the first set of blessings recited over Sam's Torah reading, I want to invite Sam's aunts and uncles up to the readers' table, Rebecca and Andrew Perrin, Lisa Brown, Pamela, and Scott Slobin.
As they make their way up, Sam, if you can get your yad and maybe put that cover underneath. And parents, you're going to help hold the scroll open. Yamdu aliyah leTorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim ונתן לנו את תורתו. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Lift up the Torah.
Amen. Vaira. Elov Adonai Belene Mamre Behu Yoshev Petah HaOhel Kehom Hayom Vaisa Enov Vayar Behine Shlosha Anashim Nitzavim Alav Vayar Vayar Zikratam Mi Petah HaOhel Vashitahu Hartsa Vayamar Adonai Na Matsati Hen Beinecha Anatavor Me'al Avidecha. Yukagna me'amayim ahatzu raglehem behisha anu tahat ha'etz.
Closing blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yasher koach, aunts and uncles, you can make your way back to your seats. Mazel tov to everyone, and as you do, I want to invite for the honor of our second aliyah, Sam's sister, Ava, would you join us on the bima, please, to offer this second aliyah for the Torah.
Tamod, Mariel Shira Bad Moshe Tov, Friedel Miriam, Aliyah LeTorah. You can take your mask off to do the aliyah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Hamvarach Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Ha'olam. Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Ha'amim Benatan Lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Becha valehem bisa'adu libhem ahar ta'avuru ki al kanavaratem olavedehem vayomeru kentase ka'asher dibarta vayomaher Avraham ha'ohela el Sarah vayomer maharim shalosh se'im kemat sole lushi va'asi ugot Bel Habakar, Rat, Avraham, Vaikak Ben Bakar, Rak, Vatov, Haitain El Hanar, Vayamaher, La So Oto.
Closing blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'hayei olam nata betoheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach, Ava. And now for our third and final aliyah, Sam is called by his Hebrew name to recite these blessings over his third and final selection from this morning's Torah portion.
Yamod, Yamod, Habachor Bar Mitzvah, Daniel Yaakov Ben Moshe Tov, Friedel Miriam, Aliyah LeTorah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar bani mikol hamin v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vaika hem'ah v'halav uvein habakar asher asa vaitain lifnehem v'hu omed alehem tahat ha'etz vayohelu v'amaru elav aye Sarah ishtecha v'Sarah vayomer hine va'ohel vayomer shov ashuv elecha ka'e haya V'hin even l'Sarah ishtecha v'Sarah shomat petah ohel v'hu achara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lani Torat emet, v'hayei olam nata b'toheni, v'chatar nai natin haTorah.
Amen. Shakach, Sam. Todd and Stephanie, if you can retrieve the Torah cover from underneath the table there and just place it over the top of that scroll. It is our custom at this point in the service to pause for a prayer of healing, to turn our thoughts to the members of our family and those near and dear to us on this Shabbat morning who find themselves in need of healing, wholeness, recovery, and restoration. So we call all of them to mind in our prayers, and we turn in our books to page 253, where you'll find the words from Yishaberach. We offer this prayer for healing this morning. As we switch our Torah scrolls now and prepare for Jules' reading, will you please rise?
Jules Gray, delivering this blessing on your bar mitzvah day has been on our minds since you were really little. In fact, we started making notes about 5 years ago. I reviewed them several times in past weeks, knowing this moment was coming, but I couldn't quite figure out how to use them because they were mostly anecdotal memories about your various and plentiful hijinks over the years. I'm happy to share the list with anybody who's interested in a laugh. Then, last week, your adoring little sister Sybil made it all very clear. We were discussing an outing to the Color Factory, and I said, let's see if Jules wants to go. Immediately, she said yes, because Jules makes everything better. She was absolutely right. While your notorious shenanigans have definitely created a lot of parental angst, the truth is They've also made for the best family moments and memories. We wouldn't trade any moment with you because you simply make our world a better place.
As you'll teach the congregation today, your Parsha asks us not to be overwhelmed by the gravity of the world's problems, but instead to set off a chain reaction of good deeds. Jules, you are the personification of this biblical teaching. Your profound generosity and kindness, combined with your endless energy and passion for life, set off a chain reaction of pure goodness in the world and in the lives of everyone you come across, family, friends, teachers, and strangers alike. Our wish for you, our wondrous son, is that you continue to live life exactly as you've started. And in the words of one of your favorite songs, may you have auspiciousness and causes of success. May you have the confidence to always do your best. May you take no effort in being generous, sharing what you can, nothing more, nothing less. May you know the meaning of the word happiness. May you always lead from the beating in your chest.
May you be treated like an esteemed guest. May you get to rest. May you catch your breath. May the best of your todays be the worst of your tomorrows. May the road less paved be the road that you follow. Here's to the hearts you're going to break. Here's to the lives you're going to change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. We want you to have it all. We love you.
This morning, Jules will be reading also from Genesis 18. His reading starts on verse 16. So if you've got those red books and you want to follow along with Jules's reading, you can turn to page 128. Again, Jules will be starting with Genesis 18:16. We are going to invite his grandparents to the reader's table to receive the honor of this first Aliyah, Ellen Kalish, Linda Pulaski, and Joseph Pulaski.
As they make their way, Jules, you can take that cover and put it under the reader's table, and then get your yad ready. Open the scroll. Yamdu Aliyah LeTorah. And parents, you're going to stand on each side of Jules and help to hold the scroll open. Alana and Alan.
Yep.
Whenever you're ready, opening blessing.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bakar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'tanlanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Vayakumu misham ha'anashim vayashkifu al panei Sedom ve'avrecham holech imam l'shalecham v'Adonai amar hamechaseh ani me'avraham asher ani yoseh ve'avrecham hayo yihiyeh lo gadol vayatzum v'nivrechu vo kol goyei ha'aretz.
Closing blessing.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Natan Lanu Torat Emet V'Hayei Olam Nata B'Teheinu Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yasher koach. Grandparents, you can return to your seats. And as you do, I want to invite for our second Aliyah, Jules' parents and his sister. So Josie, if you want to come join us up on the bima for this second Aliyah.
Yamdu etka ve'Avraham Yaakov ve'Simon Ora bat Avraham Yaakov ve'etka Aliyah LeTorah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ki yadativ למען אשר יצווה את בניו ואת ביתו אחריו, ושמרו דרך אדוני לעשות צדקה ומשפט למען הביא אדוני על אברהם את אשר דיבר עליו. ויאמר אדוני זכת סדום ועמורה כי רבה והטעתם כי הבדה מאוד. ארדנה וראה הקצקתה הבאה אלי עשו קלה ואם לא אדעה.
Closing blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, b'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai, notena Torah.
Amen.
And now, for our third and final aliyah, once again, we call our bar mitzvah to the Torah by his Hebrew name so that he can lead us for yet a bit more reading of Torah this morning.
Yamod habachor bar mitzvah, Yona Gidon ben Avraham Yaakov ve'etka aliyah leTorah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Vayivnu misham ha'anashim vayachu Sodoma ve'Avraham Odenu omed lifnei Adonai. Vayigash Avraham vayomar ha'av tispeh Sadiq im rasha. Ulai yesh hamishim sadakim betoch ha'ir ha'av tispeh v'lo tisa lemakom leman hamishim sadakim asher b'kirba.
Closing blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Sher koach. Would you please rise as the scroll is dressed?
Now we're going to put the silver on. Just hold the We now get ready for our Haftarah reading, which can be found in those red commentaries on pages 336 and 337. And the boys begin with the Haftarah blessings.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim, v'ratza v'divrehem hane'emarim b'emet. Baruch atah Adonai, aboher b'torah, u'Moshe avdo, u'Yisrael amo, u'v'miyeh ha'emet v'tzedek.
Amen.
Oh,
Is it on?
do we have that? song?
Vayavo Elisha habayita v'hinei hanar met mushka al mitato. Vayavo vayskor hadot be'ad shnehem vayitpalil el Adonai vayishav ahayelen vayasem piva piv ve'enav al enav ve'chapav al kapav
Vaikar, Aleav, Vayachom, Visar, Ayaled.
Vayashov, Vayelech Babait, Achatena, V'achatena, Vayal, Vayikar, Allah, Vayazorer, Hanar, Ad Sheva Pamim, Vayivkach Hanar, Et Einav, Vayikra, El Gehazi, Vayomer, Kera, El Hashunamit, Hazot, Vayikra'echa, Vatavo, Elav, Vayomer, Se'i, B'nei, Vatavo, Vatipol, Al Raglav, Vatishtachu, Artsa, Vatisa Epena, Vateitze.
Closing blessing.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Zor kol haolamim Sadik b'chol hadarot Ha'el hane'eman Ha'omer v'oseh Ha'medaber u'mekayem Shekol debarah Emet v'tzedek Al haTorah V'al havodah V'al navi'im V'al yom hashbat hazeh Shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu Likdusha v'liknuha Likavod ultifaret Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu modim lach U'mevarchim otach Yitbarach shimcha V'fi kol hai tamid le'olam va'ed Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. We will now return the Torah scrolls to their place in the ark, and I want to invite these members of Sam's family to assist with the doors of the ark. Gabby Brown, Lexi Brown, Ellie Brown, and Ziva Slobin. As they join us up on the bima to open the doors of the ark, would you please rise?
We're going to carry the Torah up the stairs again. You can do it. Wait, maybe the time.
Ki lekach tov natati lachem torati al ta'azovu. For I have given you good instruction. Do not abandon my Torah. It is a tree of life for those who hold fast to it, and all its supporters are happy. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace.
Eitz Chaim hi lamachzikim ba betomcheha meusha deracheha darchei noam bechol netivoteha shalom Hashivenu Adonai Eilecha ben Hashuvah Chadesh Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh
Y'all ready?
Yameinu
Okay.
Kekedem.
Beautiful. Okay, y'all can take your seats.
My parsha is Vayera in the book of Genesis, and it describes the hospitality of Abraham. One day, while resting in front of his tent, Abraham sees 3 strangers walking by. Without hesitation, he runs to them to offer them a place to rest. Abraham and Sarah hurry to prepare a feast for the strangers, even though Abraham initially only offered water and bread. While they're eating, one of the men, who's really an angel from God, tells Sarah that in 1 year she will have a baby. One interesting part of my portion is when Abraham runs to the strangers. This shows us that his hospitality was not passive. Rather, he was eager to rush out and help them. This is all the more impressive because he was 99 years old, and he was still running. And it was even more impressive because tradition says that this was only a few days after he'd given himself a circumcision. Ouch. The lesson teaches us is that we should always try to help people even when we are also hurting. I was born during Hurricane Ike. When it was time to leave the hospital, our house had no power. Since Aunt Carol and Uncle Sandy had power, they welcomed us into their home. When power came back to our house, we in turn were able to welcome my grandparents, aunts, and uncles. Even though my mom had just given birth to me, she was happy to have everyone she loved safe with us. Aunt Nancy and Uncle Larry kindly offered to host my births at their home near the synagogue so that the Moel could walk there on Shabbat. I don't remember any of this. I was only a few days old after all. But I do remember the Texas winter storm earlier this year. When most people did not have electricity or heat, the storm brought 44 hours of freezing temperatures and caused $18 billion in damages. It was a mess. But since we at least had sporadic heat, once again, our house was full of family and friends who needed our help. From playing war games, to watching movies, to eating together, and going down a slippery, snowy slide at the park, we made the most of the circumstances. Just like Abraham rushed to greet the strangers, even after he just had surgery, my family welcomes people to our house even when times are tough. Just like Abraham brought out a feast for the strangers without them having to ask, my family shows hospitality and offers food and shelter to guests before they can even ask for help. Our family has been so lucky to receive hospitality from people who care about us. Abraham's actions teach us that there's always someone less fortunate and we can always help. For our joint tzedakah project, Jules and I decided to donate a portion of our bar mitzvah gifts to Gamers Outreach. Through equipment and software, Gamers Outreach's mission is to ensure that every hospital is able to provide kids with activities along with care. Our goal is to purchase a go-kart, a portable video game kiosk built for hospital use, so kids can experience some fun even though they might be scared during treatment. We plan to designate the go-kart to Texas Children's Hospital here in Houston. We hope that our donations will help bring joy to kids receiving care in the infusion center. I'm so happy to be able to become a bar mitzvah today after more than a year of this crazy pandemic. I'm so grateful to so many people to reach this important day. First, I'd like to thank the clergy, teachers, and staff here at Emmanuel. I definitely wouldn't be here without your help and encouragement. I'd like to thank all my friends and family who are either here today in person or virtually. Your presence means so much to me. To my out-of-town family who traveled to Houston, you are awesome for being here. It is amazing to celebrate with you, and I'm so grateful that we're all finally together again. I know there are a lot of special people watching me virtually too, and I'm so grateful you are able to join us. To my first cousins, Gabby, Lexi, Ellie, Ziva, Max, and Jack. I always have the best time with you. And to my aunts and uncles, you're the best for giving me such awesome cousins. I'm the luckiest kid in the world to have 4 grandparents who all live in Houston who I get to see all the time. Gigi and GP, you are so special to me. Gigi, I love making chocolate lava cakes with you. I love eating them even more. I also love playing backgammon with you. No matter what we do, I'll know we'll have fun. GP, thank you for coming to all my baseball games and practices. It is so awesome that you will always cheer for me, even if the refs don't like it. You are definitely my biggest fan, and I love you both so much. Mom and Papa, I have so many awesome memories of growing up at the beach and going on fun vacations with all my cousins thanks to you. Thank you so much for supporting my love of baseball, especially by taking me to the World Series and Astros spring training. Mom, I love playing Rubik's Cube with you. I love beating you in horse. And Papa, thanks for being so easy to beat in pool. You are both so important to me, and I love you so much. Ava, even though you are only 16 years old, you are already turning into mommy. You take me to school, make sure I don't get bad haircuts, tell me how to dress, tell me how to behave, and look out for me all the time. I enjoy our rides to school, even though we never run on time, and you only allow Taylor Swift and Selena Gomez on the radio. I love watching Marvel movies and Survivor with you. Thanks for always being someone I can look up to. I love our late night talks and our relationship in general. You are so smart and an amazing big sister. I love you so much. Mommy and Dad, you are incredible. I literally would not exist without you. You're the best parents, and I could not have been raised better. Mommy, thank you for all the happiness you brought into our family in the past year. You planned the best celebrations and made things special during COVID. I still can't believe you let Dad put a pool table in our living room during COVID. You helped me by pushing me outside my comfort zone and giving me the opportunity to try new things and make new friends. You work so hard and take such good care of our family. Dad, you're super fun. I love watching Saturday Night Live and Survivor with you. You're the best vacation planner, and you ride all the roller coasters with me. Thank you for playing catch, basketball, and board games with us. You are the best example of work hard, play hard. I want to especially thank you for always being there for me, for all the good talks, full of life lessons, and for always wanting the best for me. I love you both so much. Jules, you have been my best friend for longer than I can remember. Can you believe we started here at Becker Preschool together? Whether we're making slime, playing basketball, riding bikes, or playing video games, we always have the best time. Like Abraham in our Torah portion, you are very hospitable. You even walked to the grocery store to get me lactate pills so I could eat ice cream at your house. There's no one else I'd rather share this day with. I'm so glad we got to be partners. You are such a good friend, and I will always have your back. Finally, Mommy and Mrs. Pulaski, thank you so much for spending hours and hours and hours to make sure this weekend is perfect. You are the best team. My bar mitzvah experience has taught me how to dedicate myself and work hard towards something important that will impact my future. I worked so hard learning prayers and studying my Torah portion, and I hope I will remember the sense of pride I feel today forever. I look forward to continuing my Jewish learning and hope someday I will have the opportunity to travel to Israel. Thank you all for supporting Jules and me today. Shabbat Shalom.
Sam, Shabbat Shalom, Yasher Koach. Beautiful, beautiful teaching this morning. Thanks for sharing your wisdom and your leadership with us this morning. I appreciated the teaching that you shared about hospitality and the model that Abraham and Sarah show in your portion about how important it is to be welcoming and hospitable to strangers, to friends, to people who are guests in our homes. I want to share a story with you about that very important Jewish value. There's a story that's told about a very famous rabbi in Eastern Europe in the 19th century. And according to the story, this particular rabbi was well known for his hospitality and would always welcome guests to his table for Shabbat or for holidays or what have you. And one Shabbat, he had a beautiful table set with all kinds of delicious foods and drinks and refreshment, a full table full of people that he was hosting for Shabbat. And as soon as the meal began, one of the guests reached for something across the table and spilled his glass of wine all over the beautiful white tablecloth, all over that beautiful setting. And he was mortified because here he was, a guest in the rabbi's house, and he had just spilled red wine all over the beautiful tablecloth. Without waiting a second, this famous, influential rabbi kicked the table really hard so that a bunch of other wine glasses tipped over and spilled wine all over the table. And he said, "Ugh, the stupid table, it's always been wobbly. I've got to get this table fixed." Why did he do that? Because the rabbi knew what you and your family know very well also. And that is that hospitality isn't just the practice of making sure that guests are fed, given enough to drink, that they're physically comfortable, but to be a good host means to make sure that we take care of people's feelings and their hearts, their ideas, and their souls as well. That's what real Jewish hospitality means. And that Jewish value, Sam, is one that I see all the time in you and in your family, in your home, where guests are always welcome, where hospitality is always abundant, and where those who know you well and those who are new to you and your family always feel like they belong inside your home. I hope that that is a lesson that will instill itself deeply in your heart as you take your place, not just as the newest generation of your family to lead from this bima, but also to be the newest generation of men in your family to make your home and your community a place of welcoming and hospitality. That's something that you demonstrated in the work that you did in your Mitzvah projects as well, not just making sure that people's physical needs were met, but their mental and emotional ones as well. When you spent time with Afghan refugees to Houston, playing soccer with them to make sure that they felt loved and at home and welcomed, you weren't just taking care of their physical needs, but making sure that they knew that the city, and you in particular, are glad to have them as our new neighbors and as our new fellow Americans. Sam, I am delighted to know you and to love you, to know your family and to love them as well. It is such a gift to be enveloped in their circle and your circle of love and hospitality and welcome. I wish you and your amazing family many, many more years of blessing, goodness, and sweetness. Mazel tov, my friend. And now, Jules, I want to invite you to take your place at the reader's table, please, to teach us a bit about this week's portion from your perspective as well. When you find your space, you can take off your mask and lead us in a little bit of learning this morning.
My parsha is Vayera in the book of Genesis. In it, God cannot decide if God should tell Abraham that God is planning to destroy the city of Sodom and Gomorrah because the city is full of bad people. Eventually, God decides to tell Abraham, teaching him an important lesson in the process. When Abraham hears about God's plan, he wisely challenges God in an effort to keep the cities from being destroyed. Abraham said to God, "If I find 50 good people in this city, will you pardon the whole place for their sake?" God answered, "Yes." Abraham goes on to ask if God would save the city for 45 people, then 40, then 35, and so on, until he got God to agree that if there were 10 good people in the city, God would pardon the entire city for their sake. But there were not 10 good people, so God destroyed the city anyway. My Oliot detailed the conversations between God and Abraham, but rather than emphasizing Abraham's initiative in challenging God, the text indicates that God actively seeks out an argument with Abraham. The text states, "Now the Eternal has said, shall I hide from Abraham what I am about to do?" It seems like God wants Abraham to argue with him in order to teach him a very important lesson. Before God destroys the cities, God saves Abraham's nephew Lot and his family, which totaled 8 people. This means that God agreed to Abraham's deal, knowing that there were not 10 good people in the city, but only 8. But if there had been just 2 more good people in the city, then God would have pardoned the entire city. This teaches the lesson that even 1 or 2 people can make a critical difference. Even if Abraham thinks that his actions won't change anything, God is showing him that they will. In studying my parsha, I read about an interesting social experiment testing the limits of human compassion. In this simple experiment, a picture of a hungry child was shown to a person who was then asked to donate $1 to feed the child a meal. The same picture was then shown to a different person, but this time accompanied with statistics regarding world hunger. The picture of the child alone received way more donations. The researchers discovered that the person who saw the statistics got overwhelmed by the thought of trying to solve the problem of world hunger. The statistics made that person feel like his or her $1 donation alone wouldn't solve anything, so they decided not to donate at all. But in reality, the single $1 donation would have fed that one hungry child even if it didn't solve world hunger. And their donation might have also encouraged others to donate too. In this way, one person could actually make a huge difference. The lesson God is teaching Abraham in my Torah portion is that even one person can make a difference. The decision to do the right thing can cause a chain reaction and inspire other people to join in. We see this effect often at sporting events, when a small group of fans starts the wave to show support for the home team. Often out of tens of thousands of fans, that one small group becomes the cause of a hugely impactful and inspiring event. I believe that Parshat Vayera asks each of us not to be turned off by the gravity of world's problems, but to be the ones that set off the chain reaction of good deeds. A Mitzvah project is a way of fulfilling this religious obligation. For our Mitzvah project, Sam and I teamed up to support Kids Meals Houston by making 1,000 snack lunches for Houston's hungry children. We chose this organization because we feel very strongly that no child should go hungry, and recent events surrounding the pandemic have affected Houston's hungry in a very serious way. Of course, even with 1,000 lunches, we were not able to feed every needy child, but Sam and I still felt very proud of our contribution because we know that we made a real difference in those kids' lives, even if it did not end hunger completely. Sam and I got to see firsthand that we were able to make a difference with our good deeds. There are some special people who I would like to thank for helping get me to this point today. First, thank you, Cantor Simmons, Rabbi Hayon, Rabbi Fixler, and Rabbi Sok for giving me the Hebrew education that helped me succeed today and will serve me for the rest of my life. Thank you also to Charles Colonna, Mrs. Townsend, Mr. Dom, Mrs. Alfazwadi, Mrs. Cohen, Mrs. Stein, Miss Brooks, and Mrs. Carlson for teaching me all the prayers and my Torah portion to prepare me for this really important day. Thank you also to my friends for always having my backs, joining in all of my shenanigans, and making everything in life a lot more fun. To my late Grandpa Kalish, I know you are watching over me right now. I will always remember going fishing with you and coming to hang out with you and help you with all your gadgets. I'm really honored to be wearing one of your favorite ties today for my bar mitzvah. I love you and miss you. Nana, I'm so lucky to have you in my life. You make the best scavenger hunts and are always looking for ways to make things special for me and my sisters. I hope we can continue to share lots of fun times together and work together to keep memories of Grandpa alive in our hearts. Gerlinda and Padja, you two are the best. You're always available to help get me and my sisters wherever we need to go, and you always have something fun planned for the time we spend together. I love sharing meals with you, and our family dinners will be something I forever remember. Josie, thank you for paving the way as the oldest kid in the family. You help me with school stuff, and more importantly, you are easy to talk to and always a good listener. I can tell you things I wouldn't tell anyone else, even Mom and Dad. And now that you can drive, I look forward to having a lot of fun sibling outings. Starbucks, anyone? Sibby, thank you for being the most lovable and funniest little sister. I have felt a very special bond with you since the day you were born, and I love watching over you. I hope we stay this close forever. Mom, I love just being with you. Even if we are only running around doing errands, time with you is really special to me. You pour your heart into our family, and I am so thankful that you finally caved and brought our new, furry little sibling into our house, who brightens my every day. I love you. Dad, hanging with you is awesome. Whether it's throwing the baseball or football in the front yard, playing basketball in the driveway, hitting all the arcades with me in Las Vegas, or searching together for the coolest Air Jordans, you're always up for it. You have a hilarious sense of humor. I'd like to think I inherited that trait. I love you. Lastly, Sam. Oh, Sam. I'll never forget when we covered my whole house in glitter, thumbtacks, and pennies, or when we covered your whole house in slime. We've definitely caused a few gray hairs between our parents, but man, it's been fun. You truly have been by my side every step of the way since we were just 2 years old. As such good friends, it's really cool that we got to go through the bar mitzvah process together and share our special celebration. Here's to so many more fun times ahead. Becoming a bar mitzvah, I now feel that I have a true connection with God. Attending Shabbat services as a little boy or during Sunday school, I did not take prayers or Torah seriously. Through the bar mitzvah process, I have come to appreciate and find meaning in the ancient Hebrew text and in the prayers I've spoken hundreds of times before. I'm grateful that my bar mitzvah has brought me closer to God, and I look forward to continuing to strengthen this connection through my studies at Emanu. Thank you to my family and friends for supporting me today. Whether you are here in person or supporting me virtually, this is awesome. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Jules, I know that this room and rooms all over the country probably are filled with members of the Jules Pulaski fan club, and I would like to request membership in that club as well. I'm a huge fan. Thank you for your teaching. Thanks for your leadership. Thanks for the mensch that you are becoming. I love the insight that you taught about this heartbreaking story about Sodom and Gomorrah, and the aspect of the story you highlight that it may not have been more than 2 people that the city needed to save itself from destruction. It makes that moment at the end of the story when Lot's wife turns around and is turned into a pillar of salt even that much more heartbreaking. Maybe she was turning back around to see if there could just be one or two more people she could convince to change their ways and live lives of goodness and generosity. So I think you're right. I think it's a story about the power of the individual and the capability that all of us have to make a difference in our communities and in the world. But Jules, it's also a story about the power of groups. The story would have been a lot shorter if Lot and his family had a big group of friends of 50 people or so who were righteous and conscientious. The story of Sodom and Gomorrah's destruction would never have happened. You are entering a point in your life and in your early adulthood when you'll have choices to make about the people that you surround yourself with. One of the lessons of the Sodom and Gomorrah story is that if we are able, thoughtful enough to surround ourselves with good people who are a good influence on us and on the world, that we'll have an extraordinary impact on the places that we live. I want to encourage you to be thoughtful about making choices about the people that you hang out with as you enter into and through adolescence. Those people exert the most powerful influence on us and the course that our lives will take. Seeing you, seeing your siblings, and your extraordinary parents, I know that you will make outstanding judgments about who to spend your time with, who to invest your emotional energy into, and who to build that community of goodness and conscience around yourself with. I have extraordinarily high hopes for you and what you will do in the world that you will inherit and someday lead. This day is a day that you step into adulthood and step into maturity and leadership. You and Sam are now the newest adult members of this congregation, and we will turn to you increasingly over the days to come to see how you will choose to use your energy and your resources and your leadership to make this place and to make the world that you inherit better and kinder, more gentle and more compassionate. It's interesting, Jules, that your Torah portion never specifies what was so terrible about Sodom and Gomorrah. You can read the Bible very closely. It never says what was so bad about those cities, about the people who lived there, and what made God so angry to want to destroy them. It's not until centuries later that the rabbis start to read the story a little bit more closely, and they conclude that what made Sodom and Gomorrah so terrible was that the people there were stingy and selfish and unkind. They weren't able to share, they weren't able to give, they weren't able to think about the needs of other people around them. And so as you enter adulthood and you make the choices about whom to surround yourself with as a young man, pick people who are full of good hearts. Pick people who are generous, conscientious, and considerate. Surround yourselves with that sort of circle, and you, Sam, your families, and your communities will bring great blessing and goodness to this world. Thank you for your leadership. Mazel tov. Congratulations. So I'll ask you to stay where you are, Jules, and I want to invite Sam to come back up, and with him, both of your sets of parents, Alan and Alana, Todd and Stephanie, if you'll join your sons up here on the bima with me and Cantor Simmons. We'd like to share a moment of blessing with you, and as we do, we will open the doors of the ark. Will the congregation please rise? Mazel tov, you guys. You guys
Put
can.
your arms around.
Okay. We're so proud of you.
Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May the light of God's countenance shine on you and be good to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God's presence always remain close to you. May you be blessed with the greatest gifts God gives, the blessings of wholeness and goodness and peace.
Amen.
We remain standing before the doors of the open ark for Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol,
לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונה, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. Page 287. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Okay, you guys can take your seats. Mazel tov.
Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov. Yehelanu, 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 ulecho Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulecho Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulecho Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, ulecho Yisrael.
Sam and Jules, Mazel Tov. It is such a joy to get to celebrate with both of you, to welcome this amazing new milestone in your lives together, and really our whole congregation joins me in the cantor in feeling deeply prideful and joyful in both of you. Earlier this week, you received some gifts to congratulate you on becoming bar mitzvah, including certificates indicating that gifts of tzedakah have been made in your honor. You received an Israel savings bond, a personalized embossed copy of the Plout Modern Torah Commentary, and thanks to the generosity of the Barish family, a fabulous free 4-week trip to Poland and Israel with your temple friends after your 10th or 11th grade year when you remain enrolled and regularly attend our amazing upper school program at Helfman Religious School. I have a few brief announcements to share about some upcoming events in our community. On Sunday, October 24th at 7 p.m., we will be hosting an online murder mystery game. We would love your help to join and help us solve the mystery. The event is free, but we do ask that you register in advance. October 24th at 7. Our congregation will be serving as an Election Day polling place on Tuesday, November 2nd. If you are a registered voter in Harris County, you can vote at any election throughout the county during early voting and on Election Day. You can visit harrisvotes.com for more information ahead of Election Day. We hope that you'll make plans to join us online Thursday, November 4th at 7 p.m. for a program we're calling Refugee 101, From a Global Perspective to Local Solutions. Please join me and a team from the Refugee Services Department at Interfaith Ministries for this inside look at refugee resettlements in Houston. Please register in advance online. After the conclusion of our service, the Pulaskis and the Slobin's family and out-of-town guests will head to your Kiddush luncheon. That's going to be in the tent outside these doors to my left, your right. For those of the other guests who are here celebrating with us this morning, please pick up a sweet treat as you leave the synagogue out the doors to my right, your left. Also, the B'nai Mitzvah families will be staying around in the sanctuary for a few moments after the conclusion of our service to greet you and to thank you personally for joining in their simcha. This is a day of great joy and celebration for them. It is also, for them as for all of us, appropriate then that we take just a moment now to look back and share in the work of memory, to remember those that we are thinking of this morning who are with us only in spirit. This day, Jules and Sam and their families are remembering these dear ones. We're remembering Mark Kalish, Charlene and Albert Agris, Barbara and Leonard Kalish, Ruth Pulaski Lack, Edward Pulaski, Abe and Belle Jacobson, Percy Jacobson, and Mark Webman. We remember as well Rowena and Louis Goldfaden, Myra and Albert Perrin, Ethel and Stanley Novak, Anne and Philip Slobin. As well, our congregational family sends our hearts out in sympathy to the family of Arlene Davidson Merson, who was laid to rest very recently. Surrounded then with these prayers and these memories, we turn to page 294 for the words of the Mourner's Kaddish, and we rise together. Page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uv'izman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'elam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha abarichu. La'ela mimkol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen.
You may be seated. We will make our way through the blessings of Kiddush and Motzi now to give thanks for this day and for the things that sustain us. I want to invite Jules and Sam back up to the bima once more to lead us in these prayers, and with them, Jules' cousins, and on Sam's side, Ava, Gabby, Lexi, Ellie, Ziva, Max, Rowan, Ryan, Eliza, Jackson, and Juliet. I think that's just about all of them. And on Jules' side, there are more of you than I can name, so please make your way up here so that Sam and Jules can have you all around them as they lead us in these blessings to prepare for the rest of this day of gratitude and celebration.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
You can have a sip of your juice
Chaim.
and those special Kiddush cups. And the motzi.
2, 1. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Amen. We close this morning with our prayer for peace, Oseh Shalom, page 343. Oseh Shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Would you please rise for a moment of benediction? Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, our God and God of all the generations of our families and of our people before us, bless us on this day. Bless us with the gift of hospitality and welcome. Bless us with eyes that see the opportunities to help. We thank you for our many gifts, and we thank you for these new adult leaders who will lead their families and their people to goodness and redemption. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.